Hello, and here I am again with the next video on my request list. Now this is another life purpose video. So this it doesn't talk at all about the expression or soul urge or what I call your toolbox numbers. It focuses on the challenges and tasks in total with your life path and birthday number, which is your life purpose, basically. So remember, your life path 5 is by far the most important part of your life purpose, including whatever sub-lessons you have, because you might be a 145, a 235, a 325, a 415, or the rarest, a 505 life path. And of course that comes first, but also we have to take into account the other big and major sub-lesson here to support your life path, which is the energy of the 8. And that is if you're born on the 8th, 17th or 26th of any month. So what I'm going to do is have a look at what you're here to achieve and break each lesson down into the constituent parts so that you can see which elements that you have to achieve. And there's going to be some of those elements that you're going to find easier than others, and that's because of past experience and development, and of course the other numbers in your toolbox. So let's have a look first of all at the most important energy, which is the life path 5. So when you're a 5, you're here, you start off quite adventurous, and you're here to have varied experience and learn from each of these varied experience. That's travel and adventure and learning, and learn from each one, whether it's something that you believe in, whether it's something from you, something for you that you believe in, or something that you really love and enjoy, because you're here to search the world with the eyes of a child to find your passion, to find your focus, to find your specialism. So 5s are here to find mastery. It doesn't matter, what your sub-lessons are. Of course it does matter, but what's most important is the energy of that 5, and the sub-lessons are sort of there to support the 5. So whatever type of life path 5 you're here primarily to look at the world with the eyes of a child and learn from each experience, lesson or learning activity or leisure activity to find your passion, your ultimate focus. But because it's your life path, you're going to find that quite difficult. You might be a 5 that sort of brushes over experience, easily bored, not really taking in the full extent of each of your experiences, or learning how you feel about it, whether you want to progress it, whether you can focus enough on it to progress it. And you can struggle to find that focus and then that learning and of course that progression. So you're here to learn to focus more, to sort of think, okay, what is it about my experience in life that really gets to me? What can I really focus on beyond the point of boredom and become a master in that subject? So you're going from ultimate scattered to more of a focused mastery. You're here then, when you have that mastery, to then balance all of those, because you're always going to have that need for adventure and variation. The 5s never lose that, and they shouldn't lose that. So they need to learn to balance their need that they still have for travel and variety and varied experience with their focus on their passion and their mastery, and of course taking into account of the people around them, their family, their friends. So it's like a 3-way focus. And of course, because you're here to do that, you might find it difficult, you might find it a struggle to find that healthy balance between those 3 areas, especially because they're most important. Sometimes you might overbalance your need for adventure, especially if you haven't found your mastery yet. And often the need for passion and adventure and change overpowers the energy of thinking about others in your life and your mastery, depending on where you are in the process. So you might find that difficult to find that balance and find that focus in life, find your place, really. So you're here, I'm going to say again, to find your passion and focus on it after varied experience, whittling it down and deciding, what do I love? What can I really bring some further mastery and development into? So you've got to be able to learn over time, and it's not going to be easy, to focus with discipline on certain subjects, passions, mastery that you've chosen, and then go towards progression. And as a 5 is here to do, fundamentally, to achieve real personal freedom. Not the personal freedom that you think, I'll do what I want, the real personal freedom, because freedom is not attained from doing what we want, because what we want isn't necessarily what we need in order to be free. And we can often say, oh, this is what I want to do, but it doesn't always bring us freedom. If I did what I want to do, many times in my lifetime, I could have ended up in a lot of trouble, or certainly eating too many cream cakes. So what we want and what we need, two very different things. And what is actually more important about achieving personal freedom is having the discipline first, because it's the discipline of a master that is going to bring around the mastery and eventually the personal freedom. And that is something that you're going to find difficult to deal with at first. So you might start with being quite rebellious. You might sometimes abuse your freedom, eat the wrong thing, causing ill health because you want to, incarceration from doing things maybe that you wanted to do but maybe you didn't need to do and shouldn't do, and you've ended up losing your freedom. So sometimes what we want, and we think we're free by doing what we want, but all it does is actually bring ill health, which reduces your freedom, incarceration, and other things that stop you from doing what you want to personally, actually inhibits your personal freedom. So doing what you want isn't necessarily freedom. Discipline is what brings real personal freedom in your life. And then you've got to have as well, alongside this balance of the 3, a healthy balance and commitment and dependability. And this is going to link to the family and the people in your life. Remember the balance between the variety and change, the mastery, and the family and the others in your life. When you're talking about the family and others in your life, you might find it a little bit difficult at times to have the commitment and dependability that you need towards others. You'll be better at bringing that dependability along to your mastery when you find your passion, but that dependability and responsibility and commitment needs to extend through your mastery, but also to the people around you. Remember, you're always balancing that triad when you're a life path 3. You're here also to learn to act fearlessly, not to let others stop you from expressing and communicating what you need to communicate, or experiencing what you need to experience in life. Because remember, 5s are very adventurous, but that doesn't mean that they won't let their fears stop them from being adventurous. Some 5s don't deal with the variety bit because they're too fearful, and they'll focus on like reading adventure books or watching adventure films in order to help fulfill their need for variety and adventure, but from the safety of their armchair, which is not really what a 5's here to do. They're, not only can they be quite chaotic and uncommitted and unable to really commit to doing these experiences, but they can be quite fearful and, like I said, use fantasy and thinking about acting fearlessly, and watching films about acting fearlessly, reading books about acting fearlessly, but never actually getting out there and experiencing that adventure and variety themselves. And there are many 5s that actually have such a big fear that they take that adventure and variety totally out of their triad, and it can cause them some difficulties, because their core is to try new things and to experience and to deal with their huge energy that they have. So they need to act fearlessly, and they've got a lot of energy. The 5 and the 8 is a very high energy purpose, so you've got to be able to use that high energy of movement and making things happen and focus that drive into adventure, your family, or often most importantly at some periods your mastery and your commitment to that mastery, because it's only when you get that mastery that you'll start moving towards real personal freedom. So you might be unable at first to exercise the focus of your energy that you need, and there may be some unexpressed and restless energy that puts you off in scattered directions rather than the focused directions that you need to be focused on. Immense amounts of energy can be wasted, and when you're an 8th birthday, that is exacerbated because the 8 energy is quite a high energy. So they're the main tasks for you to achieve as a life path 5, the most important tasks and difficulties. But then you have the social side, which is as important as the tasks, because they all bring evolution and they bring your soul's development. So the 5 is all about communication on a wide scale, quite technically communicative, able to be influential with their verbal and their written communication skills. But of course, again, because it's your life path, you might struggle with stunted communication, low confidence, fearfulness, like I spoke about a moment ago, and getting involved in irrelevant, destructive dramas rather than actually achieving progression with their mastery and their communication and their social skills. So they can be quite wired and argumentative with people because they're here to learn to be more positive in their social environment, more charismatic, and have more entertaining and engaging social skills. And of course that can cause issues for you because it can make you feel negative and wired and get you involved in destructive dramas and arguments rather than actually progressing what you need to progress. And you can sometimes, as a 5, because you're always looking into all different angles, you can swing from independence back to dependence and back again. And total independence is you can clutter off and nobody knows where you are. And dependence can be you coming back with a tail between your legs because you've lost all your money. That kind of swinging from independence to dependence. And you're quite fearful of dependence as a 5, but that doesn't stop you moving ahead with projects and ideas because you're quite a risk taker. And to be honest, you need to have an element of risk taking in order to progress. But it's important that you take your risks and do it intuitively so that you're not making silly mistakes. So swinging from independence, cluttering off, or total dependence, coming back with a tail between your legs, you can swing between the two. And it's risky decisions and lack of commitment all round that can cause that difficulty for you to develop. So making better, more intuitive decisions and committing to what you need to commit to in order to create a sense of balanced interdependence. So you're not cluttering off or coming back and being dependent. You're actually you can give and receive in equal measure. And of course, you're here to be fearless and to build that fearless energy about you. But then you're also here to help others to be as fearless as you. I mean, you're not really here to be a leader as such. However, people could see you as inspiration of someone who isn't locked in by their fear and use that fearlessness in their own life. So you might have to deal with others that are stuck in fear or that were stuck in fear just like you, in doing the same thing, indulging in pointless drama and escapism rather than actually using their grit, their courage and determination in order to do and experience and learn, which is what we're all here to do, and to then inspire others by your actions and by your development and communication. You could write books on your fearlessness and people will learn to be fearless through you. So, like I said, you're five, and I've spoke most importantly about the energy of the five because that's the most important energy for you to develop. But you could be a 1 4 5 2 3 5 if you look at the list in front of you here, and of course the rarer ones are like the from the 3 2, the 4 1, and the 5 0. Because to gain those life path energies, you need to have a master energy in one of the three elements of your date of birth, and that is quite a high energy to have, especially when it comes to your long-term cycles. So do please look at the energies of whatever particular life path you are. Okay, so that is important, and that's your priority. But also to consider, and if you think 90% life path, 10% birthday, you're asked to bring flavors of the 8 energy, and that is if you're a life path 5, but you were born on the 8th, 17th or 26th of any month that adds up to the life path 5. So it's those are two very, very high energy. So there's a lot to do and a lot to achieve and goals to achieve, because the 8 energy really adds to that need to make things happen. The life path 5 says make better use of your energy, communicate, train, learn, get your mastery and then communicate it. But then the 8 is saying, yeah, achieve your goals, move forward, attain success in life. So it's a high energy life path. And because it's so high energy, it can cause you difficulties from being able to manage all that energy. So the 8 is saying to support your life path 5, learn and develop the ability to have the experience to know the secrets of worldly financial success, what makes money and what doesn't. So it's very business orientated, and I forgot to say the 5, very intuitive but also very entrepreneurial. So the 8 brings added business into this particular life purpose. So you've got the entrepreneurial 5 energy that you're here to achieve, especially if you're a 1 4 5, that's a business builder energy. You're also here with the 8 energy, and of course you've got to look at the sublessons there as well. You know, nothing's easy in numerology, but fundamentally through your 5 energy, support it by learning the secrets of financial abundance through business, through anything that you know that can help bring you financial and emotional and, you know, abundance all round, so that you can use it as a tool to help others. You're here to learn to use your financial abundance and your emotional abundance as a tool in order to help others towards success. And through that process, and it's less difficult than the life path, but you may have to deal with situations where you make and lose money, and you have to learn why you made money or why you lost money. And when those lessons are being learned more and more, you will be better able to gain financial abundance rather than lose it, and not squandering your abundance on worldly status symbols, actually using the energy of money to help others. But you know, a lot of 8s can actually be quite very focused on their status and worldly abundance, and you know, having 10 cars in a garage collecting dust and that kind of thing, when they really should be using their energy as a tool to help others, to keep that energy flowing, not to sit with a museum full of trapped energy that is collecting dust in a garage because you never drive these supercars. They just sit there. That's tying up energy. That's, you know, filling up your wardrobe with way too many Gucci and designer clothes. You know, that's tying up energy that you could be using to help others. And many 8s need to develop past this need to find status and power through the possessions that they own, through what they've bought with their abundance, and feeling that people will think they're a better person because they have all these worldly status symbols and they must be better than everyone else because they have all this money. 8s need to develop past that, and they need to develop a healthier attitude towards money, as really it's just energy. It's an energetic mode of exchange. And you know, some 8s can struggle with the idea of money. They can link wealth with unethical people and think that anyone that's rich must have stolen it or done something unethical, resentment of the wealthy. Or you could be totally the other way round and think that poor people are lazy and blah blah blah. You know, it's about understanding that money is energy, and you can draw it towards you as a positive manifester, or your negative beliefs can push that energy of money away from you and make building that financial abundance all that more difficult. So it's your attitude to money in your heart that you need to make sure is healthy to help you actually bring in the abundance that you're able to bring in. You also have to have a balanced attitude towards the achievement and success, because eights can be quite workaholic in their way. They can struggle to find work-life balance. You know, they can either avoid work totally on one end, or be a total workaholic, obsessed with success, you know, willing to do anything to achieve it, when, you know, they're working too hard, maybe doing unethical things to gain success, or not going out there and doing anything. And you need to find a healthy balance between the two. Get out there and achieve like an eight, but also make sure that, you know, it's not just work, it's work, rest and play as well. Because remember, you're always balancing that triad. You've got to take time out for varied experience. You have a mastery to achieve in the five, which is important. And you also have people in your life that you need to be committed and dependable to. So it's a lot to juggle for you. And remember, the eight isn't as important as the energy of the five. So work hard in business, but in a balanced way to achieve success, make things happen and have a financial abundance, but have that work-life balance so that you avoid any workaholism or any vagrancy from not doing any work at all, but or dependence from not doing any work at all, which again feeds into the five. You're here to be worldly, strong, realistic and resilient to deal with the world's ups and downs. You know, you can be fearless, you can be fearful in the five when you're a life path five. And if you also have the sensitivity and you struggle to be resilient in this business world, you're going to struggle to move forward with the cutthroat business world. So not only do you have to get past your fears, but you've also got to be stronger, more realistic and more resilient to deal with the ups and downs of the world and the people in it. And you do have a tendency to be quite sensitive and vulnerable and fearful, and you may struggle to deal with the harshness of the world around you at times, but you're here to be tougher, more resilient, more courageous and more brave, because in the business world, for success in this world, bravery and courage is needed, and calculated and intuitive risks are needed for you to progress. But again, you can be quite sensitive and fearful and feel unable, too fearful to take even the smallest risks to progress. Now, this is like double tendency for fearfulness. So lots of work needed to make you more resilient and courageous and willing to take those risks that you need to take in order to progress, you know. You're also here to learn to make things happen. The five energy tells you to make good use of your energy, and the eight energy is exacerbating or making that even a stronger need by saying you need to use your energy to make things happen and achieve your goals, because you can waste your energy in the five, and in the eight you can waste it even more through disorganization, slow moving progress, procrastination and missed opportunities across the board. So it's important that you're using this energy really in a focused and progressive manner, in order, because you've got a really high energy in the 5 and the 8, two very high energy numbers. So they're your birthday tasks to achieve, but of course you've got 3 more social tasks. You're here to be ethical and responsible, and you know what I said earlier about having that balanced attitude to achievement? Well, that is not just workaholism, but it's the lengths that you will go to in order to achieve your goals and success, and ensuring that you stop when it becomes irresponsible or unethical. You've always must consider the impact of your actions in the world, because remember, you've got a lot of power. Make sure your actions aren't unethical or irresponsible, and make sure that you're not exploiting others or the environment for your own selfish gain. Remember, you're here to share your abundance with others, make the energy flow, not to pull everything towards you at the expense of the people and the environment and everything else around you. So ethics and responsibility, that's going to be a challenge for you all throughout your business life, and of course your normal day-to-day life too. You're here to learn to be a skilled manager. Now the 5 is less about management, but then the 8 is telling you to bring a bit of leadership in, and it's quite skilled leadership. I'm talking like world-class leadership with charismatic, balanced personal power, strong intuition. You need to develop intuition in the 5 anyway, but the intuition will also help you to feel calm and know that what you're leading people to do is the right thing, which gives you that energy of charisma and calm knowing, which will make anyone follow you. But it's, you know, you can struggle at first with unbalanced personal power, either dominating or controlling or being submissive or dominated. You've got to not be dominating or dominated. You've actually got to have a balance of personal power so that you can lead, but you don't lead too much or too fearlessly for the situation. You know, balancing that personal power and, you know, giving orders and distributing work in a very intuitive, calm and charismatic way. So that's important for your 8, but it's not your most important thing, because the 5 is more about mastery. So bring a little bit of management in order to help you achieve your life purpose at its best. And finally, you're here to develop, like you are in the 5, the inner confidence and intuitive self-belief based on your intuitive inner compass and your trust in your what you know to be true in your heart, what you feel to be true, what your guides and your intuition and your inner voice tells you to be true, and not and making that the focus, so that your ego voice can't take over, so that that chimp sitting inside your head has no power over you and can't make you feel low in confidence, fearful and having lack of belief in your abilities. You know, we've got to control this ego voice that we have in our head and make sure that we're trusting our intuition over the voice of our ego. Quieten it down, push it away, put it in some silly clothes, almost disconnect from the ego voice in your head and learn to control it so that it doesn't control you. Very, very important. Now, I hope you've really enjoyed this video today. Please like and subscribe, but most importantly, contact me for a reading if you want to look at all the elements of your chart. I do 1 hour readings, I do 2 hour readings, I do multiple different readings for people to help them not only to understand the numbers in their chart and how they interact with each other, but also how they can put some specifics to their big picture. Whether you continue just with numerology reading or you do a bit of transformational coaching with me, I can take you from the process of non-direction to knowing your way forward. You might want to request a video, you might just want to ask me questions, but if you want a reading or you just want to ask me a question, email me at katie@soulexplorer.net or contact me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.